So we have studied radicalization in prisons, and our one-liner is, can radicalization in prison be prevented? And our sub-questions are, how does radicalization occur in prison? Which prisoners are most, a word I can't pronounce?
Susceptible.
Susceptible to radicalization, and how many resources are given in the particular issue. How radicalization occur in prison? Well, many terrorists have been in prison before they committed this crime for violence or burglaries or anything, smaller crimes. And we see a pattern of terrorists being radicalized in prisons because some groups try to reach out to these prisoners and try to convince them that there's a better way of living, and this usually is the Islamic beliefs. It's also, they sort of find people that maybe have a network or connection already to ISIS or gang members that maybe believe that Islam and that belief is the right. And we have a quote, because many young people who join the Salafist scene are uneducated and are poorly informed about their own religion and their religious roots, can also cause radicalization.
Yeah. And how prisoners are most susceptible to radicalization. And mostly it's young males that are confused and kind of weak in the point, and outcast of society, and people who do not know their religion very well. We can sort of connect this with people who do not know their religion and just feel like an outcast of society because of this. And how many resources are given to this particular issue? Well, right now at the moment, after the Copenhagen shooting, Denmark has been having a lot of focus on radicalization. And the UK is practicing antisocial prison cells for extremists. And well, the Middle Eastern countries, they need a lot of improvement. For example, there's a lot of stuff happening there, like the Icelandic stage.
And then the overall answer to our one-liner, which was, can radicalization be prevented in today's society, is that it's really difficult to prevent radicalization in prisons because of the amount of extremists in prisons. So also the outside network creates a much bigger threat, because even though you remove the extremists that radicalizes the prisoners, the outside networks will still reach out to someone else, and they can proceed where the other one stopped. And then we read a text that said it only takes one extremist to create 5 more. So 1 goes in and 5 or 6 comes out, so it's a never-ending circle. Even though you remove 1, there will still be many other. And one of the solutions we found were most effective was the antisocial cells for the extremists. So that means they can't even speak to anyone, and they're not allowed to socialize with any of the other prisoners. So also cutting out of the outside contact, so that the outside networks will not be able to reach out or communicate with the prisoners, will make it a lot easier to prevent radicalization as well.
Yeah. So some of the rhetorical devices that are used in the text that we read, and the text that we read is called Prisons Center of Radicalization, and it's from a German newspaper called Deutsche Welle. And they use a lot of ethos in this particular text because they focused on the statistics and the ways that different centers and institutes are helping these prisoners. And for example, there's a man called Raffaello Puccichi, or something. He's the director of international securities in London, and he is one of the main characters or actors in this text. It doesn't use a lot of pathos because it's very not cold, but it's sort of focuses on it's very formal. It does a lot of lists and statistics that sort of help the reader sort of get what all of this radicalization is about. The words that are used to describe Islamic State and Islamic beliefs are very negative. And it's in prison, the failed lives, and it's chanceless, and jihads are dangerous people, and the beliefs are dangerous. But there's also a guy called Thomas Munch, who says that you're in prison because you're not accepted in this society, and he sort of focused on that. If we as a Western or world want to prevent terror, we have to sort of focus on these people that doesn't really are accepted, and they're weak, and we need to help them instead of just make them outcast and sort of then afterwards blaming them for terrorism. Okay, and the sender is Matthias von Hein, and he's a journalist at Deutsche Welle, and the receiver is just the average human being that wants to maybe find out a bit more about radicalization, because it is quite a difficult topic to read about.
And what the main claim was that, the prison is the center of radicalization. And our backing then have an example of a man who's been radicalized in prison. His name is, how do you pronounce it? Mahadi Mimosh or something. Who was a man. He was 29 years old when he committed a terror action in Belgium on a Jewish museum. And there was 4 people who got killed and 4 injured. He's just a great example to show a modern, radicalized person who is kind of weak and confused about their religion, so they commit a crime.
That's it.